fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging the moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. Living Northwest wild. Hunting, fishing is my kind of style. I float the Wainuchi when it gets hot. I'm proud of all the things that I've got. I'm digging in moss bags up in the sand, and after work a cold beer in my hand, picking wild berries off God's land, and drinking my buddy's homemade wine. In the Northwest wild.
Hey, good evening and welcome to Fish Out Northwest. Wayne England and Tommy Dolan back in studio. Looking good, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Feeling healthy, looking good.
Yep, good to be back in the gym, working out again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Things getting back to a sense of normalcy. Other than this weather, you know, I mean, 81 degrees in April and here we are in May and it's like
drizzling away.
Drizzle.
Yep.
Little wind blowing today.
Oh yeah, big out of the south wind.
Opening day halibut
for those
season.
Guys that wanted to go halibut fishing.
We'll get into that in a little bit here as we progress through the show. Evening Shane, evening David. How you doing, buddy? Lots of folks tuning in. Fantastic. Hey guys, grab our link here, share that out with everybody. Let's push this out there tonight and load this thing up. We got a really good show lined up, Tommy. Lots of content to cover. Lots of guests checking in with us. Recapping a turkey hunt. We got a little new boat in the driveway to talk about.
I was just going to say, somebody got a new boat.
Yeah,
Christmas came early.
How about that? We're going to talk a little bit about this weather window and this halibut opener and special hunt applications and do I dare say pound nets? That seems to be a buzzword as of late.
Don't get me started.
Lots of things to cover. Some great guests lined up and a fantastic recipe of the week with Chef Jeffrey, as we call him, and co-host Shing. So lots to get to here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and yes, please grab our link right now and just push that on out there. And if you haven't gone over to our YouTube channel, please go over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe. Our numbers continue to go up over there, Tommy, and we're getting lots of activity there, so I'm pretty happy about that. Welcome to Fish Out Northwest. It's Thursday night, 6 p.m. We're doing our show live. First time you're tuning in, we appreciate it. Hopefully hang around for a while. You're going to learn something and enjoy the content. I want to remind everybody that Fish Out Northwest is presented by Better Homes and Gardens Pacific Commons Real Estate, located in Puyallup, Washington. Joe Maxwell and folks do a fantastic job. Helped us seal the deal on that second property.
That's right.
Boys are all moved in.
Are you already cash flowing it? You're already cash flowing it.
Already cash flowing it.
Are you taking your first rent check?
Cash flow and some slumlord. It's a fine line, right? It's a very fine line window there, Tommy. But yeah, it's working out for everybody so far. Also, Defiance Marine, located in Bremerton, manufactures the Arima, the Defiance, and of course the Allied, which sits in the driveway now. Going to get into that in a little bit. Pretty happy to.
Yeah, that's a beautiful boat. I gotta tell you, man. The fit and finish is just.
My gosh, they do great work. So yeah, and if you know what, you got your current boat, you need work and repairs and things. Get it out there, get it in the shop. They do top-notch work. Randy, when it comes to electronics, one of the best in the business. Yeah. And he outfitted my boat with everything, and it's just he does amazing work. Attention to detail is what we strive for. And then Phoenix Protective Corp, phoenixprotectivecorp.com. That's www.phoenixprotectivecorp.com. Check them out. Their security business throughout the West Coast here predominantly. Fantastic company to work for. If you are retired or ex-military and or police agency, prior experience, they are looking to hire you, and they are a fantastic company to work for. Check out everything they got going. We're going to introduce a little side business that JC has created over there. EOW, End of Watch, and a little more on that later on the show. End of Watch, last call for fallen officers in line of duty. Pretty amazing. 2019 they established EOW and the first Freedom Ride. They got that coming back. You guys will see the commercial later on the show. We appreciate you hanging around to watch that and get involved. Pay attention to what we are doing with them as we progress through the next 6 months or so. With that, Tommy, also remind everybody, get to www.fishhuntnw.com. The website is blowing up daily. Trying to add more content there as we find time in all our spare time, right, Tommy?
Yeah, right.
I did load up the little preemptive strike. We got a great halibut recipe with Chefry and Shing in the kitchen tonight. Again, these recent recipes were shot up at Finn's Bistro in Issaquah. Once you look up Finn's Bistro, go online, check out everything they have going on at Finn's Bistro. Fantastic place to eat, Tommy. We can't say enough about them. Yeah, no doubt, right?
Yep.
So recipe of the week brought to you by Finn's Bistro and Chef Jeff Maxfield, and a great halibut recipe that is to die for. That's already loaded up on the webpage with the recipe and the how-to there. So you'll watch the video tonight. You can go to our webpage under food, and you'll see that fresh recipe posted up there. So there we go.
So we're getting some comments about the boat already. So Clayton said, do we get a live walkthrough of the boat? And I know that you were out on the water the other day with Dawn. Yeah. And you guys did shoot some video.
Little video.
But I think that was like you're just wetting your whistle.
Just kind of scratching the surface.
Scratching the surface. I think a live walkthrough is in order. I mean, you've got a lot of electronics in that boat. Ray Marine. Mm-hmm. You've got two helm stations.
Yes.
I mean, that's pretty cherry setup you got there.
For a 21-foot boat.
Yeah.
It's pretty dialed.
There's a lot there.
The gunnel lighting, the rear deck lighting, the cleaning station.
We're going to have to do that walkthrough.
I think we will. Clayton, that's a good point. You know, the boat is set up, I mean, to fish, and fish comfortably.
Exactly.
Like you said, hey, 4 of us big lugs could be in here and we'd be comfortable.
Perfectly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, plenty of room.
And again, you know, understand that the conversion of this Mustang series with Allied out of Defiance, this is an upgrade to build it into a hardtop now. You can still get a soft top version, but you can also order the 19 and the 21 foot, the P21 HT as it's called, in this hardtop model. And man, I tell you what, they do a bang up job in this conversion.
Oh yeah,
it is like they've been building them forever, and they have in the Corsairs and other models of boats. But to bring it down to the smaller size, and the goal here really, folks, is to have a boat that you can throw on a trailer, drag to the east side, drag to all these different fisheries that we do, because we're not just saltwater only. You are, but
no. I want to catch a kokanee.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You've been off the back of my dock how many times trying to catch a kokanee? I just let him go. Tommy, just keep with it.
Go for it.
You'll get a kokanee one of these days.
Keep whipping that fly out there.
Yeah. So we will. We'll delve into the boat a little bit more. I got some equipment to mount up on there. We got some rod holders and whatnot to place around and set it up for fishing. And once it's all ready to go, dialed in, we'll do a walkthrough. We might even probably do a walkthrough while we're out on the water fishing. I think it'd be to show you actual electronics and things working. So, okay, let's back up a little bit. You know, last week after the show, Tommy, you had to get the boat out to CQ. Unfortunately, and so you weren't able to attend our turkey hunt that we had scheduled with Eric Braaten, founder and admin on Washington State Wild Turkey Hunting Club Facebook page, which is blowing up big time. It's impressive to see turkey hunting taken off this year to the level it has. I mean, it is. There is a lot of social media activity in the realm of turkey. There's a lot of turkey pictures being posted. There's a lot of folks, congratulations, posting up your first turkey pics. It's kind of the perfect storm in that last year, the impact to the turkey population was minimal. Had a late start due to COVID and the state shutdown. Had a mild winter and carryover, which allowed for strong brood survival. And so there's a lot of birds. You're driving down the road, you see a good sized flock of hens out there. There's 4 or 5 toms strutting around.
I tell guys out there, and especially in Stevens County, you can fill your tag with your truck. I mean, you could. You could. It would not be sporting, but you could do it. That's how many turkeys are out there.
It's impressive to see, and it's a great opportunity. And if you're first timer and going with somebody who's done it previously, you're probably going to find some success. There's a lot of people out there trying to get it done themselves, asking a lot of questions, which is exactly what you should be doing. For kids, lots of youth this year getting in on these hunts. And so we had the opportunity to go meet up with Eric, who's been doing it. They've had their turkey camp cabin And you don't hear that often.
Yeah, he's got it dialed in out there.
Dude, they've had that cabin, they built that panel cabin back in 2003. The history, Jordan and I really wanted to grasp take in the history and produce a little piece just based on the history and all the stuff going on in that cabin. We're gonna have to save that for a later date because we ran out of time because our one hunt day was so long. It was an 18-hour day, which was great. But just the amount of information that pukes out of Eric's mouth is unbelievable. And the historical value within that cabin is just amazing. So Jordan and I had a really good time. We got there Friday evening. We went out to a piece of private land that he had already had access to, set up some ground blinds, put a plan in motion for the next morning. Had a couple toms making some noise that evening, left them alone, let them go to roost, showed up there in the darkness, got cameras set up and whatnot. All this was captured on film, our 2 hunts throughout the day. Going to put that all together for next week. We'll show that video next week, which I think...
I'm excited to break it down even further and talk about, especially the calling progressions, right?
Right.
I mean, you and I talk a lot about the fact that, you know, like turkey hunting is like the big game fix for the spring, right? Yeah. I mean, elk hunters, deer hunters.
When guys like Jason Phelps get geeked out about turkey hunting, and he has been right here in that chair talking about you do a locate call, and then you go in and get after them, and you play that "Hey you, it's me" kind of pecking order, and then you get set up. And I'm telling you, much like elk hunting, it will unfold either. It'll take some time to kind of come together, or it's like right now. Yeah,
and they're in your lap.
Okay, so the one in the morning took a little time in the ground blind to get that bird to draw in. Then he came in and was fantastic. Jordan did a great job capturing it all on video. The second one, late in the afternoon, we had drawn a few other birds in, and then they went off with their side women and kind of stayed to themselves, right? Didn't really commit into our area. But that being said, you keep working it, drive down the road, do a locating call. Eric likes to use a woodpecker call in a Phelps gate.
Why is that?
Well, because turkeys are a weird bird in that, Ranella did a nice job in recapping what are all the different noises you've had turkeys gobble in response to. Slamming of car doors, slamming of tailgates, truck horn, whatever, right? We were literally driving down the road and pulled off on a little side of the road there, and Eric's truck has 230,000 miles on it, so when it hits bumps in the road, it creaks and groans and sounds like an older truck. And it literally kind of creaked and groaned, and I had my window down, and we were moving slow enough, I literally heard a turkey gobble. So we stopped, we got out. He uses the woodpecker. Phelps also sent me a crow call, which is extremely loud and does a nice job. Eric uses the woodpecker. He crams it in the bugle tube, elk bugle tube for volumization. And he gets out there and he blows that thing, beep, 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 and then you sit silent for a minute, right? Then you hear the turkey and you're like, let's go get him, right?
Let's get him.
So the truck made noise, the turkey fired off, Eric fires off the woodpecker, the turkey fires off. Okay, let's leave that one for a second. We went up, checked something else out, came back down, parked, came in high on where we had recognized that bird because we're going to flank him. The wind picks up. It starts blowing like crazy. Treetops are blowing. And when you let out a call, it's like sound disappears in the wind, right?
Yep.
So it was blowing pretty good. So, Eric's got his pack with him. We got our calls with us. He pulls out his box call and he scrapes out just a horrendous call and nothing. I mean, we're like, okay, where'd this guy go? We walk a little bit around the corner on this path, maybe 30 yards, and we're kind of in this little clearing along the tree line there in the tall grass. The wind had died down, and he pulled out one of the slate calls, gives a couple little scrapes on the slate, and bam, right there. I mean, like within 50 yards, maybe.
Really?
I mean, like right there, right now. So he goes, oh man, okay, everybody back. So we get back into the tree line. Jordan sets up behind us with cameras. By the time I sit down, pop a shell into that 410, get my knees in position for resting, and I look up, there's hen heads bobbing in the brush. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And then that turkey lets out a gobble, and then I can see him, and then it all unfolds relatively quickly, and the hen comes in. Eric does a couple light scrapes, but then we just sit and wait, and that hen goes strutting by. She was 6 feet from me.
Oh, really?
And I was statue. She didn't smell me. So didn't see me, right? Their eyes are huge. Didn't see me. They didn't freak out. They didn't find us.
Okay.
She went strutting on by, and that gobbler came in. He got within about 25, 30 yards, and I put him down with that 410. So
nice.
We'll check all that out next week. It's going to be pretty exciting. I will tell you that 410. That's my next gun.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised when I heard you were using the 410 for turkey.
It's impressive. Yeah. So it's a Stevens 410. Here's the deal. The load, the Winchester, it's a 3-inch shell. Turkey load, okay, and it is a TSS. It's a tungsten load, okay. So it maintains a tight pattern. It doesn't disperse rapidly. It stays in that tight focal pattern. It's a 13/16 3-inch shell, and it packs a whopping 295 size 9-shot pellet in that shell.
Wow.
295.
Wow.
Now the factory specs, which are really impressive. 40 yards down on a tight choke, 150 granulars are hitting within a 10-inch circle.
Really?
150,
wow.
right?
Wow.
So that's over 50% of that 9-shot load getting into your target point. And so that's at 40 yards. Those turkey were 25 and 30 respectively. It flat out knocked them over. That tungsten doesn't deform, and it just penetrates. And it packs a punch.
Yeah.
And shooting that 410 was like a cap gun.
Yeah, I bet.
I took the Mossberg 935, put turkey load in there, 3.5-inch shell, and lobbed that sucker down range to, pattern that gun. And I'm telling you, it reminds you why
you shoot the 410.
Yeah, you shoot the 410, especially if you're going to shoot in a ground blind too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
awesome.
You'll see us next week. We'll show that. I shoot that 410, cameras inside the ground blind, and you would think I shot a 22 or a pellet
with a
gun.
suppressor.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, lots more to come on that, folks. If you're looking for a 410, good luck finding one. I think there's, you put your order in and get one eventually. And of course, as far as ammo, good luck. You're not going. Oh my gosh. So. Anyway, we had a fantastic time, and I can't wait to bring that to everybody here in a couple of weeks. Let us know if you've been out in the turkey woods getting after it, because there are tons of people doing it, and for good reason, all the reasons aforementioned. And can't wait to bring it to you guys. I need them 410 shells. Yes, you do, Richard. It's a game changer, I'm telling you. Look them up. It's a Winchester TSS load, okay? 3-inch shell. You can't go wrong. Yeah, Eric also told me they're working on a 9.5 size. So
really,
I mean, if you
so just getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
I mean, it's like shooting
when you said 9, I mean, my mind goes to like a dove load,
I look at it as like granulated pepper. I mean, it's really
tungsten, so it's super dense, hard.
Yep. You're kind of like tungsten.
Carries. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. I take that as a compliment.
Hey, the Allied P21 HT has arrived, sitting in the driveway, and that's a great idea. We're gonna make that walkthrough video. Josh, there's some photos on there for folks that haven't seen it. Hey, Sean, thanks for tuning in, buddy. Nice to see you. Good evening, Wilson, and everybody else tuning in. Appreciate it. Push this out there. Let's get folks dialing in here. This is looking pretty good. So I'm impressed with that layout. This thing is just going to be a fishing machine. Can't wait to deploy them large, oversized side planers. The cool thing is all the things we're going to do in that boat, all these different fisheries, whether we're going after walleye.
Very versatile.
Yep, we're gonna be making all these how-to videos and out on the water and bring that to the people. So it's going to be great. Let's talk before we get out of here, Tommy, real briefly about this weather window. And for the opener of halibut today, if you were chasing halibut, not sitting here in studio, you would have launched out of CQ, head out to the halibut grounds. Weather window wasn't so conducive to getting out.
There was really there wasn't a weather window, for most people. Now, there was 3 boats that ventured offshore today outside of, Marine Area 4, going out of CQ, making the trek down to, the prairie, the southwest corner, which is a haul. From Nia Bay, it's about 40 plus miles.
Yeah.
But they made it down there. And then, as I was watching the wind this morning, I mean, it just continued to escalate and escalate and escalate. And anytime you see a wind that's coming out of the south, that S that you see in the NOAA forecast stands for, and I'm not going to say it,
right?
But a 4-letter word that you're all, you know,
familiar with.
Sugar honey iced tea familiar with. And the reason for that is because when you get that south wind, you know, the natural current direction here off our coast is out of the north, right?
Right.
So automatically you've got a current that's opposing the wind.
Butting heads.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw a swell in there that's out of the west, northwest, and you've just got an absolute washing machine.
Yep.
And so we pay particular attention anytime you have that south wind. And it was blowing today. I mean, it was blowing 20 knots plus. Mm-hmm. And when you get that kind of wind, I mean, even if it was out of the north, it would be horrible.
Sure.
But there were a few, you know, Todd Gertz, for one, Captain Crazy Water, as he's known.
He went out.
Jeff Norwood made it out. Mm-hmm. And there was one other boat out there, and they were there. They got their fish, and then they got blown back, basically, had to come in.
Any size? Any reports on size or quality of fish?
You know, the size, and it's pretty typical for the first week, the size is small.
Yeah.
Okay. It's, you know, your average halibut, your true average, you know, a lot of people like to say this 18 pounder is 25 pounds, but I mean, the average is 17 pounds, 16, 17. Yeah. I don't know exactly what they ended up with today. But they were not, you know, large fish. Sure. You know, out of Westport, the fleet did not move.
Nope.
You know, I mean, it's just, you're getting your butt kicked the whole way, and it's a long ride.
Some days it's just not worth it.
It's not.
Nope.
You know, and we're gonna continue to get a lot of this, you know, south blow. Now the good thing is about this, that south blow brings us what? Brings us the tuna. Okay. Yes. So there is like
Setting
a little bit
later.
of a silver lining. Yeah. A little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel with that south wind.
Right.
But no, the weather right now is pretty crappy, and that's just part of. You know, honestly, that's just early May halibut fishing. Yeah. Right. That's what we're left with.
Yeah, we talked about that quite some time ago. Yeah. That we can look forward to opening of halibut season and nasty weather to go get it done. So we're right on par. Okay, gonna jump out for a quick break. Hey, when we come back, no stranger to the studio via the phone or in the chair, Chase Gunnell with Conservation Northwest. We got a number of things to cover with him. He's always very informative. He keeps you guys educated on a number of topics, and he has some very good information to share. Looking forward to getting him back on the phone. So don't go anywhere. Jump out for a quick break. When we come back right here, Fish on Northwest. Marine is the one-stop shop for the Pacific Northwest angler. Whether you are looking for a small skiff to fish the Sound or rivers or a huge offshore tuna machine, Defiance Marine has it. At Defiance Marine, be sure to power your boat with a Honda outboard package. Take advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty on your Honda outboards. Our service department is always here to help and serve you as the customer. Did you know Defiance Marine has boat financing experts to help get you the best term rates on your new boat purchase? If you need financing for that new boat, call us today. We guarantee the best price, best service on a repower for your current boat. Defiance Marine is a Honda Premier dealership and one of the largest on the West Coast. Defiance Marine also carries all the gear that you will need. Everything from auxiliary kicker motors to fishing tackle and bait. Defiance Marine has certified technicians that are top-notch at their job. Some of the best in the Pacific Northwest at evaluating your boat issues and problems. Stop in today or give us a call for all your needs at Defiance Marine.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts with services ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. Phoenix client management models are built on understanding our clients' security needs and responding with a tailored program that is best fit for them. Phoenix provides excellent customer service through well-trained, highly motivated security professionals. Recruiting highly qualified officers is the first step in building a strong team. Currently, we are comprised of 70% prior law enforcement and military veterans. If you are prior military or law enforcement, go to www.phoenixprotectivecorps.com and apply today.
Hey, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. Dwayne England, Tommy Donlan in studio. And as promised, on the phone, waiting patiently, Tommy.
Oh, yes.
Chase Gunnell, Communications Director, Conservation Northwest. Again, as I mentioned before the break, not a stranger to studio, and we always appreciate the info you bring, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Good to talk with you guys. It's good to be back on. I think it's been, a little over a year.
Has it really?
It's been too long.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
Crazy year it was.
Crazy year it was, and as busy as you are, I mean, we're lucky to pin you down just for the 2 or 3 minutes we'll have you here. So anyway, hey, some great news coming out of, as of late, the closure of the legislative session and where WDFW actually landed on their budget this year. Chase, we've had conversations in studio and on the phone previously in the shortcomings and the struggles and the lack of funds and the reduction in programs. That's not the conversation you, Tommy, and I are having this evening. Kind of break it down for some of the wins that came out of that budget session.
Yeah, it's a real change from where we were just a few years ago. And a little bit of background, I worked at Olympia as a lobbyist for several years, and so it was a natural fit as we were getting involved in this issue at Conservation Northwest, along with a whole host of other groups, everyone from Puget Sound Anglers to the Mule Deer Foundation. We had a real deficit of funding for the Department of Fish and Wildlife coming out of Olympia for about a decade. And while, we might not always agree as different fish and wildlife groups, we can certainly agree that there's things that the DFW could do better.
Sure.
None of us benefit from the underfunding that the agency was facing, which was going all the way back to budget cuts that they got in 2008 during the Great Recession, which were never backfilled. So we worked for years to resolve that, and we were successful in spring of 2020. But you all know what happened in spring of 2020. The pandemic hit right after the agency was finally fully funded. So going into this 2021 session, we were really concerned, and I know the agency was really concerned that all that hard work was just going to evaporate, that they were going to be faced with new budget cuts as a result of the pandemic's hit to the economy. And, thankfully now as the legislative session closed a little over a week ago, that was not the case. The state legislators maintained the funding levels for the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they made some new investments in our fish, wildlife, public lands, and natural heritage. So that was great to see. There's some really exciting stuff that was funded this session.
Perfect. Well, moving forward, the money allocation for hatcheries, and we use that buzzword hatchery reform, but actually hatchery rebuild and upgrades. That's I think more the appropriate term to recognize is the upgrades that are so desperately needed in a number of our facilities. The money's allocated for additional Chinook, as we know with the Orca Task Force and the recommendations, and so it's you can ask for all that money, but until they actually put it into a budget and award it. Now, obviously, we're still waiting for the governor to sign off on that. I really hope Governor Inslee does, in fact, do that simply because, one of the drivers, as I just mentioned on some of that stuff, Tommy, was just write out his own task force. So we'll fortunately see where that heads, Shay. So pretty awesome stuff. Let's jump into something that falls under the transportation budget. Safe Passage 97, something you've been passionately involved with for a number of years through Conservation Northwest. We've had some successes and we've had some, a little bit of fall short here and there. Kind of give us up to date on how that process is going. I mean, the end goal here is to stop killing so many mule deer on the highway. And what's it going to take to get there? And where did we land actually with monies being allocated for 2021?
Yeah, this one's really in that close but no cigar category, unfortunately. I've talked about this project on the show before. It's a collaboration between the Mule Deer Foundation, Conservation Northwest, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers has been supportive, the Colville Tribes, Department of Transportation. Everyone, and I'm sure many of your listeners who hunt up in the Okanagan, I do, that stretch of Highway 97 is notorious. You've got our state's biggest mule deer herd coming down into the valley as the season changes, running straight into Highway 97, which goes north to south, as most of those deer are moving east to west from the North Cascades or from the Kettle Range. And it cuts right up the middle of their winter range. And the statistics are we see about 350 deer hit and killed per year in just one 12-mile stretch of highway. And that's just deer that are confirmed. There's plenty of others that are hit and wander up into the hills and die.
Sure.
Yeah,
so we've been working with the Mule Deer Foundation, the local chapter there, with some of the local state legislators, folks like Joel Kretz, The city of Omak, the county, the tribes, everybody's on board to try to do something about this. It's only a matter of time before it's not just the deer that are killed, it's a human that loses their life running into a deer. So we have been asking for funding for this project for a few years. WSDOT was supportive. Unfortunately, in past sessions, that funding did not come through. So the Mule Deer Foundation, Conservation Northwest, and some partners, we got together and we said, we're not just going to sit around and wait. We actually raised $250,000 to start a first privately funded phase of the Safe Passage 97 project. And so those photos you're seeing here, those are photos from that first phase of the effort. We renovated the Janus Bridge to serve as a wildlife crossing. We built the first mile of fencing, and immediately we had deer using it. It was really, really neat to see. So going into this legislative session, we could show those photos. We could show videos from local farmers and ranchers talking about how well the project was working. And we were initially successful. We were able to get full funding for the project, $18 million, which sounds like a lot, but we're currently spending about $2 million a year just cleaning up on collisions and dead deer on this highway. So we were able to get the funding in a big transportation project spending package that the legislature was debating this session. And that was a big win. And all the groups and all the members of the public, all the hunters, all the conservationists that sent letters to make that happen should be proud. Unfortunately, the clock ran out on us. The legislature, while they passed a lot of good bills and budgets, they did not agree on how to fund that transportation spending package.
You know, this is sad. Like you broke it down. So $2 million of impact per year, and I'm not sure what's all included in that number. If that also includes, personal property damage, insurance claims. Medical bills.
It's about $6,500 an incident is the estimate that WSDOT uses.
Yeah,
so it's a lot of money.
What blows my mind, if you did a simple, net present value analysis, right, of your yearly cost, and then you looked at the cost of building this, this wildlife safe passage, this overpass, and you were preventing that. Just if we looked at an economic impact, you're preventing that $2 million a year, it would pay for itself.
Yep.
In a handful of years. That's what's sad is if the state could actually be making money, right? The insurance companies could be making money.
Sure, and it's been proven.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a complete win-win. And I think, Chase, about a year and a half ago, we had actually put up that map that in the statistical data that supports a lot of the information behind the scenes on this thing, the amount of damage done to vehicles, hospitalization claims, surgeries, insurance claims. There's all that information that's available to them. It was an absolute mind blow. And it's almost a no-brainer. If you're sitting on the other side of the legislative table and they present you with this, you go, well, not only is it good for the common person driving the road, but it's just all around good for everybody. We're going to stop losing 350 plus to 400 mule deer a year out of the herd on their natural migration. These deer are not going to stop wanting to head that direction. Yeah. So this whole thing is all about high fencing, choke points, funnel points, overpasses, underpasses, and you're basically just leading them to the safe over and under passage. And it works so successful, Chase. What you guys have done so far and have proven the success, I can't believe that they're still dragging their feet on this thing. I really hope this next year that it gets pushed to the forefront finally in budget session. They can come to compromise, find the funding and make this happen, because far too much work has gone on within your organization and several others, as you had mentioned, and it's time that it's rewarded with the funds needed to get it done.
Well, thank you. I'll close with a little silver lining on this, which is that, it is in the transportation spending package. It's in there. It's right near the top. It's scheduled for the next biennium once that package is approved. And that's a big win. We're really happy about that. We just want to see the legislature. There's a lot else in that transportation package. Everything from the I-5 bridge over Columbia to roadways up in the North Sound. They've got a lot of work to do, but we're going to fight hard to make sure that this wildlife crossing, this deer fencing project stays in the mix, and we're hopeful that it will, whether that's a special session this summer, whether that's next session. We're going to get it over the finish line.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good to hear. Appreciate it. Yeah. All right, let's jump to something that you're extremely passionate about, and it would fall under the category of fishing. And in this regard, you were able to find some time, mister, to sneak away to Area 7 and get in on that Lingcod opener. Let's talk a little bit about what you're finding out there and how the fishing was actually.
Yeah, thanks. This is definitely where my passion for conservation comes from. I'm lucky to spend a lot of time up in the San Juan Islands, have some family up there, and know that fishery really well. And it was one of those weekends, we had big current swings, big tide swings, about 12-foot swings.
Right.
And going into it, we didn't quite want to overpromise that we were going to find the success we usually do. But it was one of those cases where we found keeper fish, oversized fish on sand dabs. We found them mooching whole herring. We used those Lancer jigs. I think they're out at Aberdeen. I really like those Lancer jigs. There's a really good action on them, whether you're casting them or jigging them. But it was one of those weekends where learning how to set up that perfect drift in the right spot, really making sure that you've got the drift you want before you drop your gear. That was what was most important. And I think that is really common up in the San Juans. It's easy to, there's so much lingcod habitat up there, so much bottom fish habitat. It's the same when you're fishing salmon up there. So many places to go. You are better served, instead of just burning gas and running all over the place, learning how to fish certain spots in certain tide conditions, and then remembering what those are, and you can go back to them. And this was definitely the case. I mean, we had a lot of success. We were weeding through 28, 29-inch fish, looking for those 30, 34, 35-inch fish. And it was a good weekend, but it was definitely one of those weekends where you could see that putting in the time and making sure you really line up your drift right was paying dividends.
Yeah, it sounds like it was trying to land an F-18 on an aircraft carrier in a 50-knot side wind.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of guys up there. I looked like a lot of folks were finding success, and I hope that continues to be the case. That's been a really good fishery up there the last decade or so. I think it's managed pretty well. The folks that are releasing those oversized fish carefully, I mean, those are our breeders. It's great to encounter those 38, 40, 44-inch fish. So it's a good one. I definitely recommend folks spend some time up there, but do it, think about where you're fishing, think about the currents and the tide conditions, note those, and it'll help you be successful in the long run.
Yeah.
It was for us.
Perfect. Yeah, looks like you had a great trip. Appreciate the update on that, and definitely something to go do. That's just, I mean, if nothing else, even a bad day of fishing up there, the scenery, the beauty, that just something to be said.
Well, and what caught my attention, Chase, the way you said is basically the kitchen sink was working, right? Not, sand dabs, you had jigs, you had herring that you were using, so
and everything worked.
Yep. That's awesome.
It's hard to beat live bait, as you guys know.
It does
produce the best, but I think, again, it's the angler that has a good understanding of bottom structure, a good understanding of drifts, they're always going to be the most successful, and that takes time.
Yeah, yeah, nicely done.
It's not rocket science.
Hey, always a pleasure to have you on, buddy. We'll look forward to get you back in the studio here at some point, because we always got plenty to talk about. You bring it. Chase Gunnell, Communications Director, Conservation Northwest. Once again, thanks, and stay in touch.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's good to talk with you.
Yeah, have
fantastic.
a good one.
Have a good one. We'll see you.
Take care.
So, there you go.
You're breaking my heart. We could have talked about chasing axis deer on Lanai.
We could have.
And you cut me off.
I cut him off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the clock cut us off, Tommy. We're a little behind. And we got other persons we're going to talk to. They're waiting.
Okay.
They're actually watching the show and they're waiting.
I suppose.
Look at, even Josh put up the photos for you, Tommy. Look at that. Oh, you missed it. You were looking down.
Thank you. I'll have to
You're wiping that tear out of your eye. And you missed the picture.
Yes.
All right. We are going to jump out for a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Next topic up on point here is one that interests both Tommy and I and several other anglers for sure. Mark Spada is jumping on the phone with us. He has a few things to bring us up to date in the recent decisions made relative to the Skykomish Steelhead program. As you recall, last week we mentioned it. The lawsuits went away because they were frivolous. The decisions were made. We have a broodstock program now taking off on the Skykomish River, which is very exciting news. And if you are a passionate steelhead angler or even just beginning, this is something you need to pay attention to, because it's setting the groundwork, Tommy, as we move forward into selected broodstock programs in different basins, different fisheries. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this break. Mark Spada on the phone right here, Fish on Northwest.
An Outdoor Emporium is the largest local outfitter in the Northwest since 1975, providing thousands of people affordable outdoor gear. This summer, make your next outdoor adventure more affordable by shopping at our warehouse-style pricing. We are a local Scotty dealer, offering sales, service, and repair. Located in Fife and Seattle, Come visit us today. The outdoors await you.
It's easier than ever to browse homes and connect with an agent on the go with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate's mobile app. With the app, your home search is synced across all of your devices, so you can pick up your home search anytime, anywhere. Take full advantage of an enriched, mobile-optimized map search experience. Use location services to quickly find homes near you that match your search criteria. Draw your own map boundaries to find homes in a specific area, and apply layers to view school districts, neighborhoods, zip codes, and more. The app's user-friendly design makes it easier than ever to find a home you'll love. Narrow down your search results, save your search criteria, and save your favorite homes. You can browse your saved homes in a list view that puts photos and key details like price and square footage right at your fingertips. Or check out your saved homes displayed on the map.
Yep, for sure. Oh yeah, big fish. Yeah, buddy. Nice fish. Oh, beauty. Gorgeous fish.
Bobby's on the board.
We got a good one.
Oh yeah.
Whoa,
that's good. Oh, oh, geez, come on.
Nice fish. Nice fish.
Hey, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. We are here in studio. Next topic, Tommy, Skykomish Steelhead. What do you know? What do you know about that?
You know, I'm really glad that we ended the break because we were talking about kokanee on the break. And so I'm just happy that we're not talking about kokanee.
I'm going to do you a solid.
We're doing steelhead.
I'm going to do you a solid. when we get done talking to Mark Spada, who's waiting patiently, right,
you can tell me more about kokanee.
We're going to actually have Mark give us an updated report on Lake Stevens. Okay, so I got that. You just hold on, son. Mark Spada, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, and yeah, I can talk kokanee.
Yeah, oh yeah, we will, just because to spite Tommy. He's never caught a kokanee, so the more we talk kokanee, the better.
The more I'll want to do it.
The more Tommy will want to do it. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, good.
Hey, anyway, Northwest Sportsman's Magazine, Andy Wagamont recently did an article, I believe it was April 28th or 29th, on the end results here of all the efforts by you and several others, and Ed, and a handful of folks weighing in and fighting the battle that needed to be fought to ensure that we can move forward with this broodstock Skykomish Summer on Steelhead program. I asked you to join us tonight, kind of give everybody an update as to how this unfolded, where we landed, and kind of how we got there. So for those that missed the last time you were on with us, let's just kind of back up, give a little history on the Skykomish and what this strain of fish and or how this system operates to get those fish to that designated spawning ground.
Right. So the thing that everyone needs to know about the South Fork steelhead is that there was never a wild fish that ever got above the falls. All the steelhead that got above the falls were trucked up. The WDF and W have a trap at the base of the falls, and they're trucked up above the falls. And so there was never, ever a wild steelhead above the falls. But what's happened is with the trucking of the fish above the falls, some of those fish have paired up, and now those fish are considered wild fish. Whether they're two hatchery, a male and a female, or whatever it is, now those are considered wild fish. So when the state decided that they were going to do a broodstock program and use these so-called wild fish, I don't consider them wild fish, but a lot of people do. That's how the Wild Fish Conservancy got involved and said, "Hey, wait a minute, that's going to be a violation of the ESA listed wild steelhead in the Skykomish." Well, when we talked about this before, it seems so ridiculous to even bring this up because they had done a genetic study on the fish above the falls, and they were 95% Skamania stock. I mean, how could they not be? That's the only fish that has ever been up there.
Right.
So, so that's how it all started, and so this was going to be a change because everyone knew that there had to be a change from the Skamania stock. I'm not sure why, but there had to be a change from the Skamania stock that had always been planted at Reeder for summer runs. So what they decided to do is they decided to take these wild fish from the South Fork and do a broodstock program, and then transition all the summer run smolt release in the Skykomish to these broodstock smolt rather than the Skamania stock. And so that's actually what happened. And I think we were all pretty confident that it was going to happen, but you never know in these situations. And we've all been around it long enough that you can be blindsided by this stuff.
Yep.
But the fact that NOAA had basically already signed off on this program, and that it was within, I think when they filed the suit back in January, I think they were within a few months of releasing the smolts. And from what I heard from the lawsuit, I never saw the lawsuit, but what I heard, the lawsuit basically said, well, until you get your permits in place, you can't release these fish. Well, they weren't going to release the fish until they got their permits anyway. It was a frivolous lawsuit. It was a lawsuit that I don't understand it unless they got paid off on it. I don't know if they did, but it just, so the good news was that 56,000 of these broodstock summer runs from the South Fork went out last week, along with 60-some thousand of the Skamania stock that they're still using until they can transition over to full-time South Fork broodstock summer run.
What percentage of either of those strains of fish are clipped?
Those will all be clipped.
Okay, 100% then marking on both strains.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
So
the good news too is that. Go ahead.
No, okay. I was just simply going to remind folks that we had talked about this before. There's a definite line you can draw between wild fish and natural spawn. And these fish, for 60 years, have been natural spawn. You truck them up and leave them and let them go up above and do their thing in the gravel. Man's put them up there, and it's a hatchery fish that's left to natural spawn. So this whole thing, as you've explained, when it went down the road of recognized fish and ESA listing and WFC getting their hooks into it and, stirring up the bee's nest, it's just like you said, all frivolous, man. This is, these are naturally spawning fish. This didn't fall within the ESA restriction. So it was even kind of amazing that it went to where it went, don't you think?
Yeah, I thought that. I mean, there are a lot of these lawsuits. They're all about the permit process. If you look back at the Wild Fish Conservancy's lawsuits, they were all about not having permits in place, and that's basically what they were doing here. Is they were saying, "Oh, your permit's not in place, then we probably should sue you over it, and hopefully we'll get paid off."
Make some money, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
one other good thing about this, Dwayne, too, is that this is kind of new ground for the Skykomish. I'm not aware of any other broodstock programs for steelhead that they've done in the past. So, I mean, we talked before about that, we're all in favor of more broodstock programs, and the state of Washington's kind of been behind Oregon and some of the other states that have done it.
Yeah.
And for this to, get off the ground and get, new opportunity. They're going to be able to do this from offsite planning in the North Fork, and anybody that used to fish steelhead summer run in the North Fork, there used to be fabulous fishing. It's really a good opportunity and new groundbreaking territory for Reeder in the South Fork or the Skykomish summer run.
Yeah, valid point. It's kind of setting the bar. And it's putting into motion a thought process on how we should be rearing fish and selective strains of fish within basin, and it's setting the model. And the silver portfolio, had a lot to do with how they're going to collect fish and recognize which fish can be brood stocked. And as we move forward, this could be helping to set that model that could be attributed to other basins, other rivers. So I'm just Tommy and I are all for the direction this is going. We hope to see it spread out and other fishery managers and bios jump on board and use the same practices. Well,
I agree completely with you, Dwayne. And another thing, part of this is, that Quicksilver portfolio that the Puget Sound Steelhead Advisory Committee put together got fully funded, and this was part of it. And so we think that this is just a start of one of the recommendations, and we all put a lot of time into that portfolio or that report. And this wasn't the only broodstock program that we put into that report. So we're hoping that, being funded and some of this stuff that maybe hadn't been done in the past, maybe they'll take a little closer look at it, and maybe we can get on the right path of steelhead recovery, because boy, this state needs it.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess what I was wondering is, you look at Oregon and all the success that they've had with their broodstock program. Why is Washington so far behind Oregon?
That's a great question. I've asked that question, and there never seems to be any answer to it. It just was I think it was kind of a philosophy from some of the fish managers that they just didn't believe in the broodstock program. And I actually have talked to some biologists that have that feeling. But I'm with you. If you look at the success that, especially on the Oregon coast, that they have for steelhead broodstock, I don't know why we're not doing more of it. I mean, I think besides the one out on the on the Hood, and they're doing a little bit on the Sats up now. But I mean, if you look at the state of our steelhead, man, we should be looking at doing it a lot of different places.
Yeah, especially with where we're at with science. I mean, we've recognized genetic strains of fish within basin and main stems and tributaries and all that, and they can genetically link certain strains of fish, and they know which ones are predominantly the strong fish of genetics that need to be utilized within a certain river basin. So at this point, that is the direction we should be going. And thank you for mentioning the Quicksilver portfolio getting fully funded this current or last legislative session. We had Chase Gunnell on earlier with Conservation Northwest, and that's one of those key takeaways from the legislative budget as it relates to WDFW, and recognizing the importance and the work that had gone in with all the different various conservation groups, Mark, and recognizing the importance of getting funding for this Quicksilver portfolio. And it's a model that can be implemented as we're talking here on many rivers within Puget Sound, especially to start rebuilding these fish runs. So I'm glad we're heading in the right direction. I'm glad you're part of helping turn the tide there in the Skykomish system, and hopefully the future is looking pretty bright.
Well, I think so. I'm real optimistic about it, and we just needed to do something different besides, the same old recycled hatchery fish. The returns have gotten worse and worse, and we just need to do something different. This is a good step in the right direction.
100%. Well, as always, appreciate you taking the time. Mark Spada, President, Snohomish Sportsmen's Club, and active angler. Oh, before we go, see, Tommy thought we were going to slip out of here.
I thought we were going to make it to break.
I baited him like a kokanee hook.
With some corn on it?
With some corn. I just put a little sweet corn on there for you.
There we go.
Mark, how's the kokanee fishing up in your neck of the woods there? Been going the last couple of weeks with that warmer weather blast we had.
Yeah, it's gotten real good. I fished yesterday, and the temperature of the lake had gone up. I think it was like 59 degrees. It had gone up like 5 or 6 degrees in a week.
Oh, yeah.
And that really helps. That high 50s, low 60s is really good for kokanee fishing. You don't have to fish them very deep, between 20 and 30 feet. Like I was telling you in the break, the only different thing about Lake Stevens, and it's pretty consistent. Anybody that's fished it, if you put in your time, you're going to do pretty well out there. The only thing that's different this year is there just seems to be a real difference in size. We got some fish that were maybe 7 or 8 inches, and maybe some that were like 14, 15 inches, or 13, 14 inches. It was usually when you're kokanee fishing, there's a year class that's all about the same. And this year, for some reason, there seems to be a big disparity in the size of the fish, but it was good. There's a lot of people. There was at least 30 trailers in the lot yesterday morning.
Oh.
Lots of guys doing it. Everybody's looking for opportunity because, there's not a whole lot going on. So a lot of guys out doing it. A lot of guys having success. And I've been a diehard kokanee fan for a long time, and I still really enjoy it.
Oh yeah, it's something to definitely go and do. It's a lot of fun, and I just got to get Tommy convinced.
I'm just curious with the different size fish. When you catch these fish, do you cut them open? I mean, are their stomachs like full of those freshwater krill, shrimp? I mean, do you think they're food source?
Do you know what? Do you know how small a daphne or a krill is in a lake? I mean, they're microscopic. So when you open a kokanee, when you open up a kokanee, there's not a whole lot you see besides it's not very identifiable.
It's all poo. Okay.
Yeah, it's all.
Gotcha.
It looks like mash.
Yeah, it all kind of looks the same.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know. I would like to. I'm going to fish with Kurt Kramer next week, and he's kind of the local expert on that. He maybe can tell me why there's such a difference, because normally it's not that way.
Right.
Did you say the later in the year you get, the bigger they get.
Did you say down to 7 and 8 inches?
I don't know if we got them that small, but I mean probably 8 or 9 inches for sure. I mean there were some small ones, and usually you just don't. You get a certain class. Those fish are all been in there 2 years. They should be all about the same size, but it was. There was probably 25% of them are really pretty small, and then there was like 3 or 4 different size fish, but. It's still a lot of action, and I really enjoy getting out there and giving it a go.
Good stuff. Well, Mark, appreciate you jumping on with us tonight. Give us an update on that whole program. We're going to keep eyes on it over the next couple of years and see how successful this actually is going to be. I have nothing but high hopes. So appreciate your efforts, my friend.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Take care.
Have a good one. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I know. We got this green label, blue label herring shortage. I know where I can get my blue label herring now.
Yes.
I go to Lake Stevens.
You can go right out here.
Some kokanee.
You can go right out here.
And cut plug them.
Show up early next week. Put the boat in. We'll go out and catch some bait for you.
All right.
Sound like a plan? Perfect. Hey, that segment presented by Defiance Marine, our good friends out there at Defiance Marine.
Yes.
Located in Bremerton, manufacturers of the Arima, the Defiance, and of course, the beautiful Black Beauty, the Allied.
Oh, did you change the name?
No. I'm gonna throw it out there. We need to do a name pick on this thing. I asked Harper the other day.
Okay.
I said, Harper, Papa's got 3 name possibilities for the boat: Firefish, Harper Lynn, or Lil Stinker, because that's her nickname. Lil Stinker, right? Yeah. So she said, Harper Lynn.
Harper Lynn.
Of course.
Yeah, no brainer.
Anyway, all right, we're going to jump out for a quick break. We come back. Tommy, we're gonna dial up a good buddy of ours, whom we've spent time on the water with, whom was out for the Puget Sound Lingcod opener over the weekend and has been fishing as of late. Matt Messing around fishing charters, no stranger in studio or on the phone, as many of our guests after 2 years. Matt is excited to tell us about his successes and the struggles, or not. I mean, interesting, as live bait, minus 2 foot tide on Saturday, Sunday, or a 12-foot swing.
Yeah, there's a swing.
We had some current to battle. How did it go? And his report's interesting. So don't go anywhere. Get your updated Puget Sound Lingcod fishery report with our buddy Matt Messing right here. When we come back, Fish on Northwest. A Northwest favorite for almost 40 years, Arima Boats are manufactured with pride right here in Bremerton, Washington. Arima Boats offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. With literally thousands of Arima boats on the water throughout the Pacific Northwest, Arima boats are a proven hull design that offers incredible fuel economy and all of the amenities that a serious angler is looking for. All Arima boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Arima boats are designed to maximize deck space while also providing ample seating. Contact us today at Arima Boats for all your boating needs and let us help you get out on the water.
End of Watch Ride to Remember is a group from the state of Washington traveling across the country to honor fallen officers from 2019. End of Watch organizer Jagrut Shah says they want to show departments who've lost partners and friends they are not alone.
I wanted to bridge this gap that we have and bring back to the department, let the deputies or the officers know that their lost has not been forgotten.
In 2019, 146 officers were killed in the line of duty, and End of Watch Ride to Remember is on a mission to pay their respects to each of them.
For us, it's just important realizing that the men and women in blue everywhere should remember that they haven't been forgotten. We're not forgetting them. We want the families to know that their loved ones have not been forgotten.
Welcome back in studio, FHN Northwest, New England, Tommy Donlan in studio. As we said, hey, this segment is going to be presented by Phoenix Protective Corp. www.phoenixprotectivecorp.com. And for those that tuned in and were watching the commercial break there, we rolled out our first rendition of the End of Watch. Support the Blue. Please go to that link that we had provided for you there and donate. This is an important deal, and we'll get more into that later on as we roll through. But in the meantime, waiting patiently on the phone, our buddy Mathew Messin. And guess who else is watching, because Matt's on the phone tonight? Guess who's watching?
His mom.
His mom's watching.
Mom is watching.
And she's wearing her Fish on Northwest t-shirt, Matt. Yeah, fantastic. Mrs. Messin, appreciate you watching the show. All right, Matt, without further ado, let's get going on this updated report. Puget Sound Lingcod, man, you hit the opener. How was day one?
Oh, day one was phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, we were off the water by 7:30.
Really?
Really, huh?
That good.
Yeah, four lings in the boat. I mean, and it was fast, under 25 minutes, probably 2 drifts, done.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, yep. And, you're kind of partial to that live bait fishery, but then again, we had some pretty cruising currents. Was it ripping that early in the morning already? Did you have to fight some current, or was it not too bad?
No, it was great. Morning was a pretty slow change. It was you couldn't ask for any better water, really. It was gorgeous out.
Nice.
Perfect. But yeah, I'm sure later in the afternoon, any of those guys that were still fishing out there, it probably got a little sporty, a little tough trying to keep your baits down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's break it down for everybody as far as your presentation and approach on your fishing your live bait. How you deploying them little critters over the rail, and what's your setup?
Lot like what we did last year.
Mm-hmm.
I got my legs on the slider rig now, and using that sweet knot that Tommy showed you, the Perfection loop.
Yeah.
I've got 3/0, 2/0, 3/0, and 4/0, circle hooks that I've been using. I just kind of size of the bait, just kind of decides the hook, So
that's an important. That's a very important detail, Matt, that I think a lot of people miss when they think about, lingcod, halibut, tuna, and they think about live bait. People automatically want to size the hook to the fish, but that is like totally not the case. You always size your hook to the bait, right? To the live bait you're using. Because if you think about it, that live bait has to tow around that hook.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I'm not going to put, 500 pounds on a squat bar and put it on your back because you can't handle it. I put it on my back because I can squat that and rep it. But you would just crumble and fall.
500?
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Still?
All day.
Now?
You bet.
Why?
Because I work out. Anyway, so back to the live bait. So if you've got like this little fragile anchovy, you're going to use that small number 1, number 2, number 4 hook, right, Matt? And if you're lingcod fishing and you've got, you know, a shiner perch, which is a lot hardier than an anchovy, or, you know, even a nice size herring, you're going to step it up and you're going to have that, you know, 3/0 circle hook.
That's the key.
What are we using for that? What are we using for that lazy flounder? That lazy sand?
Yeah, that's a good question, Matt. What are you using?
I've got a 5/0, 6/0 set up. Kind of, you know, hook it through the jaws and then slide one right through the back.
Do you tie that? Do you tie that top hook as a slider, or is it a fixed hook with spacing?
Mine's fixed.
Okay.
Mine's fixed. It's a little bit longer tail.
Yeah. I know a number of guys that, you know, they tie a fixed rig, but if you know it's a bait presentation and your bait size varies in size when you're out catching them, you tie that top hook as a slider. It's adjustable to the size of your bait. So I was just curious if you go fixed or slider for adjustment. So Tommy was mentioning at the break that his favorite live bait fish is that flounder because he loves a lazy presentation. He attributed it to a fat kid on a snow saucer.
No, that's what you said.
Oh, I said that.
You said that.
Deploying down into the water column, yeah. On a controlled descent. So what is your true live bait of choice, Matt? If you had, you know, if you could fish one bait all day, what are you going to go with?
Oh, like a 6-inch to 7-inch herring. You know, otherwise then the pogies, the shiner perch would be number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
durable.
And bigger herring are hard to find. So
I will throw it out there that, you know, sculpin, bullheads, the little sculpins.
Durable.
Man, they are durable and they do last. So, you know, if you ask me that question, I'd put the sculpin definitely above the flounder. It would never be above the herring.
Right.
But it would be a good competitor with that shiner perch.
Well, I mean, if you have a choice and that's what you're catching, don't be misled. It's a durable little fish.
Yeah.
You can almost catch more than one lingcod if they don't get annihilated, right?
Yep.
So,
bullhead last, you know, 2 or 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. What, how did the week materialize for you? Still find fish the next couple of consecutive days, or did it slow down at all? And how about the pressure? Do we have a lot of folks out there on the opener and opening weekend?
Yeah. I think every spot got pounded pretty hard. I heard north of Possession was just you know, an SH show going on up there. I haven't heard any really great, you know, reports from, you know, most of the places, and the rest of the season, so far, it's just kind of been, you know, one fish, a couple small guys. But I think the biggest thing is the rockfish. I am going through shiners, which is kind of the downfall of using shiners is you're going to get a lot of rockfish too. And these guys, there's a ton of them, and they're huge.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
The black rockfish down there they're giants, like 8-pound fish. Like they're huge.
Be nice when we can start keeping them again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Someday.
It's coming.
They're coming back, man. I tell you what.
We're actually going to have Ron Garner on next week talking about the rebound of our bottom fisheries throughout Puget Sound. Some of the same reasons that correlate as the discussion we had last week, Matt, with him in the efforts that have gone on out of the ocean. Some of the things we're doing here inside in Puget Sound and why our bottom fish, rockfish, and bass and whatnot are rebounding. And it's pretty good stuff. So something to look forward to. So, hey, as far as artificials, what are you relying on artificial-wise and finding some success in that realm?
I don't even have any on the boat.
Just fishing live?
I'm only fishing live bait.
Okay.
I want to catch a fish.
You know, there's just something to be said about live bait. I mean, you know, when we went out last year, and that wasn't even near the opener. That was, what, 2 or 3 weeks in?
May 18th, yeah.
May 18th.
3 weeks in.
3 weeks in.
Yep.
And, you know, and we were fishing live bait, and we would make a pass, catch a fish, right?
Yeah.
Make another pass, catch a fish. And there were other boats that were making the same exact pass that we were making.
Right.
The same exact pass.
Right.
With artificials, and they were going goose egg every time. Nothing.
And we heard about it.
And we heard about it?
We heard about it from those boats making passes and goose egging it. Yeah, we heard about it.
So, I mean, tell you what, live bait, there's just no substitute. There just is no substitute.
Nope.
So I don't blame you, Matt, for not having artificials on board.
Yeah, I mean, if it's working, you know. Yeah. You got trips coming up this week. You got any vacancies you need to fill?
Yeah, I've got a weekend available here. I've got some days available. I got a trip I'm running tomorrow, and then the next one's Thursday.
Well, if folks, Tommy, want to learn to go fish live bait for Lingcod in Puget Sound, you might as well jump on with Mess Around Fishing Charters. Get with Matt Messing and book that trip. Very reasonably priced, and Matt's going to treat you to a good day. What's the best way for them to get a hold of you, Matt? Let's hope we can put a couple butts in your seat there.
Yeah, give me a call, 360-621-2681, or find me on Facebook or Instagram and shoot me a message. But, yeah, just give me a call.
Perfect. Love it. All right, buddy. Always appreciate you checking in with us. Keep us up to date.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
Yeah, you bet, man. Have a good night.
Man, there's just, so for a charter captain that takes the time to catch the bait before the trip,
right?
That's huge.
Yeah.
There's, the captain that I go with when I'm in South Florida, Captain Art Sapp, he's got, we run a 39-foot CV with quad, 300 Mercuries on the back. That's the fishing boat. But then he's got a 30-foot. Then he's got a 30-foot bait boat. Okay, and I mean, he dedicates days to catching bait so that he can have live bait for those charter trips. Yeah, and I mean, those are the captains that are doing it right. When you step on the boat and you got the live bait, it's a whole different game.
As once stated by a world-renowned philosopher, the separation's in the preparation.
That's right. That is absolutely correct.
There you go.
That's right.
Eric Hanna, yes, raw lead jigs are the best artificial bait. Yes, they do get it done. There's a number of things you can use artificial-wise. If you're not able to go out and catch bait, or you don't have a live well on your boat, right?
So you're trying to imitate the live bait is what you're trying to do. And I mean, for me, the artificial that I found that puts the best tail kick out there is a big hammer swim bait. And so we do use, when we're going out in Nia Bay and there's just, the population of Lingcod is doing extremely well, and we're also filling our bass limit, we do use a lot of, if we're under 100 feet of water, it's a 2 to 3.5 ounce jig head, and we're using like a 4 inch to 5 inch big hammer swim bait. Yeah. And they just work really well.
Yeah. Good point. All right, we're going to jump out for a quick break. Don't go anywhere. This next segment, brought to you by Finn's Bistro, is Chef Jeff Maxfield, Chefry, and Sherry Shing England in the kitchen up there at the bistro. Phenomenal, Tommy. We ate it. I mean, unbelievable halibut recipe. And again, all the ingredients and the information needed is provided at www.fishhuntnw.com. Go to the food section on our webpage. You're going to see an amazing photo of this finished product, and of course the ingredients that you need to be successful in the kitchen. So you're going to go out and harvest it. You might as well take a good recipe to try, and this is one you want to make sure you keep track of. So jump out for a quick break. We come back, we'll be in the kitchen with Chefry and Sherry right here at Fish Hunt Northwest. Allied boats are built by West Coast fishermen for West Coast fishermen. Deep V 21-degree dead rise at the transom guarantees a smooth ride no matter the conditions. Allied offers all of our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Allied boats range from 19 to 32 foot in length, so no matter what type of heavy gauge boat you are looking for, we have it for you. All of our Corsair 21 foot and larger designs come standard with reverse chine that is welded inside and out with no extrusions below the waterline, so that you will never have to worry about corrosion problems down the road. Get out on the water today in a boat that you can trust and enjoy with Allied Boats. Contact us at Allied Boats today to learn much more about our incredible fishing machines.
New days, new beginnings, new friends, new loves, new dreams, new goals, new scenery, new job. No matter what the next chapter holds, Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate will be there to help you find the new that's right for your lifestyle at any stage of your life. Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. expect better.
Welcome back to Fish Hunt Northwest. We're here in Finn's Bistro in Issaquah, Washington with the owner and chef, Jeff Maxfield.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yes.
We are going to cook some halibut today.
Oh, I was wondering.
Yeah. Fresh halibut. You know, spring is always that highly anticipated time of the year when we start to get really great fresh local fish back. You know, halibut's one of those things that, you know, frozen's just not what it's like when you have a fresh piece of fish. And you know, we're always excited in restaurants that, you know, there's always this kind of build up and anticipation when fresh halibut's going to happen. And we're going to do a really great presentation of it today that, you know, takes into consideration that it is such a delicate, mild flavored fish, but it's versatile too. So you can, you know, we're going to do a real nice take on an aioli, which is pretty much a fancy mayonnaise. Yep.
Fancy.
With a bunch of herbs. So we've got basil, we've got mint, we've got parsley, a little bit of green onion, and then we're going to serve it alongside of a quinoa tabouli salad that we've got a really great recipe for. So,
okay, sounds great.
To start, you know, this is one of those real simple ones. You can cook that halibut. You know, whether you want to put it on your grill, in a pan, cast iron skillet, on your Traeger, pellet smoker, whatever you've got. You know, this is a great opportunity. We're going to just use a pan here because it's nice and easy, and I like that that kind of hard sear on the fish that gives it that kind of nice
then
brown.
With the cast iron, you can just go straight to the oven with it.
Straight in the oven. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So a little bit of neutral oil here. This is just canola oil. I'm using a really highly seasoned cast iron pan here that was my grandmother's, and it fries eggs really well too. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of our signature seasoning.
Your seasoning.
Yep.
Finn's Bistro.
Finn's Bistro, yeah. It actually, before we bought this restaurant, I used to call it Chub Rub. I don't know why, it just kind of, it rang. But, so as this pan's smoking a little bit here, you want to make sure, always when searing fish, the hotter the pan, the better. Because what happens is if you don't have a highly seasoned pan or something that's non-stick, once you stick that fish to it, it's almost impossible to get out and have it look pretty at the end of it.
Okay.
You know, you might as well have fish tacos at that point. All right.
Which are good too.
Yep, that's true. Yeah. And so a nice little easy way to tell if it's getting hot is just kind of dip the corner of it in there.
There you go.
And there we go. Always when you have enough oil in there like that, start the fish close to you and drop it away from you so any of that oil doesn't splatter onto you.
Yep.
All right. So as we'll sear that a little bit, I'm going to turn the heat down just a tad.
Okay.
And touch more seasoning right over the top. And we'll give that a minute or so on top of the stove, and then we'll finish it in the oven. So we've got a couple different ingredients here for our aioli. One is green onion. You can, you know, this is a great opportunity to use the white parts of the green onion too.
Okay.
You know, if you've got some saved up from something else where you just needed the greens, this works just fine.
Yeah.
So we'll do a little bit of our green onion. All right, we've got some fresh dill, fresh basil, and a little bit of fresh Italian parsley. All right, and all we're gonna do, and how's this looking over here?
Looking good.
All right. So if it, yep, you see it lifts up there nicely.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to continue to cook it on that same side in the oven. And what that's going to do is it's going to get a nice kind of crust on it, which gives you that presentation that we always look for.
Okay, so you don't cook on both sides. You don't.
Nope, I'll just, and typically when I pull it out of the oven, I'll flip it over in the pan just so that it, kind of sears that bottom side. But we want that nice hard kind of sear on the top. And it gives it a little bit of a texture, and it, gives it almost that little kind of crunch.
Well, that says what I'm doing wrong.
All right. All right, so we're just going to take the stems off of our parsley. We've got, and you can use curly parsley, works just fine too.
Well, a lot of people are doing gardens now.
Yeah.
Everybody's been trying to kill some time in their homes.
Exactly. This is a great way to use those herbs. This is a real kind of basic mayonnaise recipe that works great. You can, if you just want really great mayo to throw in a burger, just omit the herbs, and this is it. You can add a little bit of lemon juice at the end, and it's perfect. Young dill, don't be too concerned about, stems. I obviously leave the big stems. You don't want those in the sauce.
Right.
But everything else, these small little ones aren't too bad. All right.
Those smell so good together.
Smell good, yeah. And so all we're going to do is we're going to just do a rough chop. This doesn't, have to...
Okay.
All we're looking to do is essentially make it so that our immersion blender that we've got here is going to finish the puree process for us. So we'll get all that in there. I like to put a little bit of salt. All that does is help, kind of break everything down as that immersion blender is working there.
Okay.
And we've got some eggs. So a couple different ways you can separate eggs. Obviously right through the shell
old
like
style,
that.
Just
that's
like
a perfect way to do it.
That's what I do.
Or if you've got to do, sometimes 300 of them, which I just, you do it right through your hands. And let that white fall through.
Well, there you go.
Pop it right in.
True chef right there, Messi.
That's right. And you can always, they do sell pasteurized egg yolk, so, if you're concerned with having egg yolk, honestly, I'm not concerned with eating raw egg yolks. You're putting enough vinegar and things in there that anything that's harmful in there that might hurt you, it's gonna be gone by the time you're using this.
Yeah.
So a little bit of vinegar. This is champagne vinegar. If you're gonna do, I'd use any white vinegar, just not distilled white vinegar. That's got a really kind of strong flavor. So white wine vinegar, champagne vinegar. Great thing about grocery stores these days is their vinegar aisle
have everything.
is got everything.
Yeah.
So, rice wine vinegar works really well. It's a little bit sweeter, but it works really well for this application. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our immersion blender.
This blender is...
This is a stick blender. This is an awesome piece of equipment that this comes off, goes right in your dishwasher. You wrap the cord up and you throw it in a drawer. If you can't find one of these, they sell them in a lot of the different box stores around. If you don't have one of these, a normal blender will work. Just make sure you empty your margaritas out first. And then if not...
And wash it really well.
Yeah, and a food processor works really well too. So we're going to just kind of break this down a little bit. All right, and you just want to make sure that you've got something with high enough sides, because as we start to throw in our oil or drizzle our oil in, this is a little more vinegar here. As we start to drizzle our oil in, what happens is this stuff will start kind of spraying up on the side,
and you're
going to end up on your ceiling and all over the place. All right, so I'm going to crank the volume up a little bit more here.
Okay.
And we'll start moving this around. There's a way to do this by hand, but it just takes a lot longer.
A lot longer, yeah.
So we'll start drizzling this in slowly.
And you just drizzle that because it's...
Yep. We're going to drizzle it in super slow, and what that does is it helps to emulsify our egg and the oil. So now that we've got a little bit in here, I'm going to run it at an angle, so I just threw a little towel under there.
Okay.
So it kind of helps to bring everything down. And continue to drizzle it in. Early on in my career, this was a thing that, making holiday sauce for brunch every morning. You had your chef over the corner of you with a hot bucket of clarified butter, and you're whisking, yeah. and you're standing over a steam table usually, and he's pouring the butter in, and he's like, whip harder, and it's a 10-15 minute process.
Oh boy!
By the time you're done making the hollandaise, you haven't even cooked any eggs that day, and your arms are just jelly. So, all right, and you can see it starts to thicken up a little bit here. And the color is just incredible. It's got that real,
nice.
Light green color. And the idea is we don't want it real thick like mayonnaise, right?
Okay.
We want it to, be sauce-like.
To be able to drizzle over the fish.
And looks like we're coming together here. And the key is to go slow. If you go fast, it's going to separate on you, and you start all over again. What's that?
How much oil do you think that was?
That was for every egg yolk. An egg yolk, by science, can suspend about 4 ounces of oil.
Okay.
So 2 yolks, and typically an egg, a standard egg in the grocery store, is about 2 ounces. It's about an ounce of yolk and an ounce of the white. So,
okay.
And that's a fluid ounce. And so then what you do is, 4 ounces or so will suspend. So that was 2 egg yolks. It's about 8 ounces. It's about a cup.
Okay.
All right. So I'll just move this out of the way.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. And so I'm going to pull this halibut out while we're talking, just so we don't overcook it.
Okay. Hot pan.
All right. And so you can see now it's got that nice crust already. And we're pretty much 3/4 of the way cooked. So now all we do, get your spatula underneath them, release it, and flip it over. And so what that's going to do is just kind of finish the cooking. Look at that.
Perfect.
So that nice, I like a little bit of color on fish, and and certainly something with the fat content like that, it's really nice to kind of get that char on there.
Yeah.
So the last thing we always do, we always want to taste, make
your
sure
sauce.
Before we put it on. I didn't add really much salt to this, so we're going to just taste it, make sure that everything else is good.
It's good.
Fantastic.
All right.
All right. And so what I like to serve this with, especially in the spring, summer months, halibut, is great all summer long. It's a nice dish. Eat out on the back porch. It's something that I think is meant to celebrate with light salads, things like that. I've got a recipe that's up that has it's a Tabouli Salad, which is a Middle Eastern kind of a grain salad, sometimes made with couscous. We made it with quinoa. Quinoa is one of those ancient grains that's one of the kind of the superfoods that you should always have in your diet. Super easy to cook. The 2-cup recipe takes 20 minutes, if that, to cook the quinoa.
Okay.
And then you just drain it, cool it down. We toss it with a little bit of fresh lemon juice, parsley, cucumber, and those cherry tomatoes that are going to it's popping off your vines here soon. So,
looks amazing. It looks so fresh
it
light.
really is. Yeah, it's light and it's good for you. And you know, for eating fish that's freshly caught, healthy for you, might as well serve it with something healthy, right?
Yes.
Because there's always those times you want to have a little bit of fried fish too, but this might not be one of those times. All right, so I'll bring that fish right over here.
Okay. And I'll get out of the way of the hot pan.
All right. So we'll use this one here. That's got a nice color to it.
Yes, it does.
Okay, if you're concerned about, you know, how we do it in the restaurant too, oftentimes is when you've got oil in the pan, because you notice I didn't drain any of the oil off before it went in the oven. What we oftentimes do is just bring it to a towel first, paper towel works, just to get any of that extra oil off of there. Yeah.
Okay.
And place that right over the top. And it's okay if it cracks like that, it's no big deal, because that's the beauty of having a sauce, right? You just cover it up with
there you go.
All right. And so, you know, again, a little bit of the sauce on the fish. You can drizzle a bit more around the plate. So if we were to say, hey, let's put a little bit of sauce right there and cover up that crack.
Okay.
And then you could drizzle more around the plate if you like, or you can serve it on the side.
Okay.
All right.
Looks good to me.
Here we've got our pan-seared halibut with spring herb aioli and a quinoa tabouli.
Yeah. So while we dig in, we're going to throw it back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, well, there you go, Tommy. That is a halibut recipe to be held, man. That is tasty stuff.
I could eat that every day.
Yeah, and it's
good.
I was lucky to get a morsel of that. I was lucky to get a morsel all day long.
You had your own plate.
Tommy showed up.
I'm a sauce guy, though. That sauce was amazing, and you could put that on any fish.
Aioli?
You really could.
Yeah, amazing, amazing, and pretty easy to make too, as far as sauces go, and really adds a lot of flavor. So many more recipes to come with Chef Jeff Maxfield and Shing in the kitchen. Some of them will be up there out of the kitchen at Finn's Bistro. That's why you hear that blower going. It's a little bit of a louder environment.
It is a real kitchen.
It's a real kitchen. There's equipment running, and that's just what we're going to do, make it authentic. And then, of course, we'll be back here in the house. The other thing is Jeff's going to take some of his recipes that he's very fond of. We'll be doing some pellet grilling. We'll be doing some open fire cooking down in the fire pit down below by the lake. It's going to be a phenomenal spring and summer as we roll into new recipes with him. And we're going to check in. We may have him here in studio next week if we can put this all together. So things to look forward to. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Again, go to www.fishhuntnw.com for all the ingredients and the recipe breakdown for that exact halibut recipe, so you're ready to go when you get out on the halibut ground Saturday and go get that first fish, right? Isn't that right? Okay, I'm going to jump out for a quick and final break. We come back, Tommy, we're going to close out the show. Got some WDFW authorizes fish traps and pound nets, seines, and whatnot as alternative gear selection options. You and I are going to have a little discussion on that, and a few other items to clean house with, a few events coming up we got to remind folks of. And that's just what we're going to do to close out the show. So don't go anywhere, stick through the break. We'll be back right here at Fish Hunt Northwest. Defiance boats are built without any structural wood materials. That is why we back our boats with a lifetime warranty. All of our Defiance boats come standard with large fish boxes that are fully insulated so that you can ice your fish properly all day. Defiance boats feature a 21 to 22 degree dead rise at the transom and a large reverse chine for incredible handling and stability offshore. Defiance boats are foam flotation filled and unsinkable for the ultimate in safety while fishing offshore. Defiance boats feature fuel-efficient hull designs with large fuel tank capacity so that you can have maximum fuel range for making long offshore runs completely safe and affordable. All Defiance boats come standard with self-bailing decks for improved safety while at sea. Defiance Boat offers all our boats with Honda outboard packages so that you can take full advantage of the reliability and 5-year top-to-prop warranty from your Honda outboard. Defiance Boats for all your boating needs, and let us help you get out on the water.
Today, the need for quality private security services is at an all-time high. Contract Security Service provides day-to-day peace of mind as they protect people and property. Phoenix Protective Corporation strives for excellence. Above all, Phoenix security officers are managed by leaders trained to inspire and encourage greatness. Here at Phoenix, we provide service for multiple state and federal contracts, with service ranging from uniform, patrol, alarm monitoring, canine detection, executive protection, as well as investigative work. We here at Phoenix are looking for highly motivated individuals to apply. If you're a vet, retired or active, and would like to work with us, please apply.
Hey, welcome back, Fish Hunt Northwest. Tommy, I had posted earlier in the week, WDFW authorizes fish traps, pound nets, seines per seines as it would be.
Yeah, they took the advice of the Wild Fish Conservancy organization, which we are very familiar with.
Yeah, and opposed to a lot of things they do. So
brings lawsuits to our fisheries.
I posted that up on our Facebook page to generate discussion because I want to, and I put it in kind of the format of, hey, is this good for the fish? ? Good for the recreational opportunity. What do the commercial guys think about it? And lots of folks weighing in and generated a good discussion and pretty cordial, you know. And there are those in the camp of, yes, this is absolutely the best thing ever. And there are those in the camps of absolutely not. And then there are those in the camps to say, well, you know what, more information is needed. And I'm kind of in that, yeah, I want to see where this goes and I want more information. I had a great discussion with Gabe Miller down at Sportco yesterday. Yeah. And he and I are kind of on the same page along with a lot of others. And you and I really haven't talked about it a whole lot, so I'm curious to see where you're at. But, you know, the concern is, well, what about the upper fisheries?
You think Idaho's going to want to produce any hatchery fish if they're all getting taken out downriver?
Yeah, so that's what people are thinking. And then, you know, how do they work around allocation? And the biggest crux of this whole thing is that the Wild Fish Conservancy has such a hand in this.
Yeah.
And it's the fox guard and the hen house. Yeah. I mean, to a T, because here you have an organization that is dead set against hatchery production.
Yeah.
Hatchery production, hatchery reform, hatchery anything, hatchery fish. But yet they want to selectively harvest the hatchery fish out of the Columbia River, and then they want to take those fish to market and make money, so then they can turn around and sue WDFW for producing hatchery fish.
Right.
So the whole thing just stinks like dead fish. But the bottom line is there are a number of points that were brought out in an article written by, I believe, Andy over at Northwest Sportsman's Magazine. And they hit on a number of key points. And Director Kelly Suswin, he designated the seines and pound nets as an emerging commercial fishery. Comes after testing of the pound net over several years. And, you know, they presented that. They've bought off on it. They believe that this is the future in the realm of some commercial harvest opportunities. Nowhere in there does it designate or has it said it would restrict or limit now all gill netting. You know, it doesn't indicate it anywhere in the information that, hey, this is a stopgap, and from here on forward, there is no gill nets ever, right? You have those safer areas that were produced in Lower Columbia, which produces a ton of tules put into the system. Now, here in the States, when those tules come back and they're harvested, either recreational or commercially, the value is nil. There's just not a lot of dollar value. But the buy-off there is in negotiations and trades with Canada. When those tules come past the commercial fisheries in Canada, they're a high dollar fish.
Yep.
They're a high dollar fish with a lot of money attached to that. Why are we raising fish for Canada? Don't even get us going on that. But it's part of the process, right? So those fish coming back to those safer areas, if you are solely relying on the Lower Columbia stretches above those safer areas with pound nets, fish traps, it foregoes the reason to produce those tules. And if we're not producing those tules, it weighs in heavy on opportunity in the Lower Columbia as we allow the upper river fish to come through.
Yeah, we catch a lot of those lower river fish in the salt. I mean, that is our primary fish that we're catching.
Yeah.
You know, my concern is what is the plan, number one, what's the plan for pinniped prevention at these fish nets? So you're bottling up all these fish.
Right.
They are all in this pound net. Okay. You're telling me that you're not going to collect a massive amount of sea lions? Get out of here.
They're not just going to swim right in like the fish, because it will.
What's the plan there? What does that look like? You know, that's one of the concerns.
Sniper tower with a 22.
Hey, I'm all game, and I'll build the ammo.
I'll build a sniper tower.
You know, we already talked about what does escapement above you know, the pound nets look like. Right.
That's an interesting point, and I read through the article a couple times, and the one takeaway is, I'm going to read this verbatim as it was stated in there. We fully recognize that we need an allocation to truly evaluate this fishery, and we're working on that as well. We think that we are ways to get, and we'll find out if there are ways to get allocations to make this tenable, so we're not really harming or damaging the recreational commercial fisheries on the river. This is Director Siswin. So they're recognizing the allocation. In the conversation with Gabe and I alluded to the fact that I can't foresee them just operating a pound net or a fish trap in this manner where the gates are just open 24/7. It makes no sense. Commercial fisheries are based on allocation, percentage of take. So, and when you're managing fisheries, you don't go whole hard, get after it like at the front edge of the run.
Yeah.
You don't take a big chunk right out of the middle, and you certainly don't just wait to mop up at the end. It's a metered dose throughout because you don't want to impact any particular part of that run return because those fish are programmed and their offspring will be programmed similar, same in their return rate, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to have these gaping holes in your return across the board. So if you're not doing that currently with any type of gill net operation, whether it's set nets, drift nets, or whatever, you certainly aren't going to do that with pound nets in place. There's a means of closing it off, opening it up, closing it off, opening it up. If you're kind of metered dose, opening, extracting fish, releasing wilds, harvesting, again, it's a percentage of take. Commercials get an allocation. Recreational gets an allocation. Upper rivers, upper hatchery programs, including the tribes, put a lot of money in the upper Columbia tributaries and the programs to account for a lot of those upper river bites that we get to fish on, buoy 10 and the lower stretches. So I can't foresee them putting these things in. And folks, you know, I get it, the conversations are good, but the mindset of pound net after pound net after pound net, privately funded, privately harvested, commercial, major corporations running these things now, WDFW raising fish for private entities. I mean, we can spin this thing 100 different ways. If there was no mention of we still have work to do on coming up with allocation, and we have to get, you know, this is an opportunity as a commercial harvest option. If it was hard and fast, these nets are going in, this will be the only commercial harvest that will be, and you know, we're not really concerned with upper river escapement or allocation, then I would have concern.
Well, what's the game plan if the gill netters are not interested in this? They just don't put the nets in?
I don't know.
I doubt that's going to happen. Right.
So within this year's budget session with legislation in the monies awarded towards WDFW, there is a $2 million cap in there for buyout of commercial nets once again. So commercial fishermen, there is a pool of $2 million waiting, and there's a formula to use, and it's like, how much, you know, do we owe you to buy you out as a commercial fisherman, and or do we convert you to one who is helping and assisting and running the pound net or the fish trap, and are you now making your earnings based on your efforts put in there versus dragging a net around? So there's still a lot of information to come out on this thing. I think I'm not jumping on one side or the other, but I am definitely keeping an open mind to where this is going to go. When you talk specifically on conservation and safe practices, it is not 100% non-mortality. There is a 4 to 6% mortality, but substantially lower than any other type of commercial harvest that we're currently using.
Is that what they're quoting? Is 4 to 6% for the pound nets?
Yeah. There's, I mean, you're handling fish, and sometimes they get pretty loaded, and
they're bumping against the nets.
You know, fish piling on each other and whatnot. But as far as selective harvest, and for those of us on the recreational side of the fence that for years have been advocating for selective harvest means in the commercial industry, okay, at some point you're careful what you ask for.
Well, I just don't trust the source on this one.
Well, if you take the WFC out of it, then you're kind of like, you know, let's see where this goes. WFC has a
there's still a lot of unanswered questions.
There is,
you know, and I mean, it'd be one thing if they, you know, so they're saying these pound nets are highly effective at getting the hatchery fish out of the river. Okay, and if that's the case, we should be bumping up our hatchery production exponentially.
And in some regards, we are. But we can do a whole lot better. Right? We can do a whole lot better. So there will be more information on that to come. We're going to keep on top of this one because this is a shifting of the ways, kind of like broodstock programs as we develop those and where those go. We just like to keep on top of this stuff, keep you guys informed as to what the outcome on some of this is going to be. Hey, Tommy, we are in a position, Fish Hunt Northwest, to help host and put together the first annual Summit Lake Kids Trout Derby.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. We got some great sponsors on board, folks handing off money to Sherry and I. Apparently, they trust us with their money the last few days.
Yeah.
Crazy. Max Lure Sport Co. Metal Supermarkets, formerly a sponsor here on the show. Mike's Plum Street Automotive, located in Olympia, and of course the Summit Lake residents around the lake. A handful of them digging into the coffers and offering up some monies. Those monies will be utilized to buy prizes and giveaways, and you know, we're talking rods and reels, tackle boxes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and
you got a lot of different pots to enter.
Yeah, lots of categories.
Yeah, a lot of team categories.
Yep.
Yeah.
Biggest trout, biggest kokanee, and of course second and third places on those perspective as well. Biggest random category. I threw that one in. Somebody brings in a 14-inch perch and nobody, you know, puts a bass up next to it. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Kid with a 14-inch perch just won a fishing rod, a reel, and a tackle box full of gear.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. So most weight for team of 3, largest trout, and then of course your most weight in your 5 limit retention, right, for your 5 limits. So we have multiple categories, boys and girls. Must be 14 years of age and under. You just come here to Summit Lake and fish. Arrive over to the community center before 11 a.m., get in line, and we're going to do all the weigh-ins. We're going to have all the prizes laid out. Mikey Olson, friend of ours who was in here last week, he called me today and said, hey, I want to get involved in the Derby. Put me down as a sponsor, and he's going to offer up some fishing tackle for the kids for the prizes as well. So we have one more name to add to it, Mikey Olson Outdoors. And May 22nd, daylight to weigh in, which is you got to be in line by 11 a.m. We'll be open over there about 8. Get things rolling, you know, just be there ready for when the masses show up. We got extra overflow parking and parking attendants. Here's one I want to throw out. Is there an interest with all our folks out there fishing and everybody that you know, has boats? We're gonna get a host of kids, maybe dads here that want to come fishing. We do have shoreline access, albeit it's kind of condensed. There's not a lot of opportunity here. That I don't want to dissuade you from showing up here to Summit Lake and fish off the shore. You're going to catch trout. But do we have some folks out there willing to show up with their boats, have a mom and dad, or you know, a couple adults and some kids, jump in the boat, go out for 2-3 hours, catch some trout, come in, assist them in getting that done. I'm going to put that out there on our Facebook page as well.
Awesome.
If you're willing to sign up, bring your boat here for the morning to afternoon and get some kids out fishing, that would be fantastic. Richie Height, awesome. Paulina Peak Tackle would also like to donate. I will get in touch with you. The Derby is May 22nd, okay? May 22nd. It's a Saturday, and hopefully the weather's going to be nice. Yeah, lots of folks starting to show interest, and we've had some great poster boards made up by Kylie Gustafson here at the lake that are getting pushed around to the local supermarkets and tackle shops. So we're anticipating a pretty good turnout and really want to get the kids out there fishing. So, yeah,
absolutely.
Contact me via Facebook, Richie, or give me a call. I still got your number. Let's talk about what Paulina Tackle can do. And we'll get you dialed in on that as well. All right. Other than that, the FHN Eastside Rendezvous, June 11, 12, 13. Really looking forward to that. Tommy, I think you're going to still be out on the ocean.
Yeah, I'm going to be on the ocean, but that is an event that I would love to do at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll be dragging the firefish, the little stinker, or the Harper Lynn over to the east side. Weigh in. We're going to name the boat on Fish on Northwest Facebook page as well. But Eastside Rendezvous, June 11, 12, 13. Stay at the Sky Deck Motel, or you can stay at Cooley Playland Campground. I'm going to call Hal over there and get them dialed in too. And give you an option if you want to camp. You can. The accommodations there at the Sky Deck are pretty accommodating and comfortable. Nikki and the gang over there do a fantastic job. Give them a call at 509-633-0290. Tell them you are there to participate or booking a room to participate in the Fish Hunt Northwest Eastside Rendezvous in June. Book your room at a reduced rate. You can stay 2 or 3 nights. We're going to be over there for at least 3 nights. We're going to fish 4 or 5 days, so we're going to take full advantage. Free seminars on Saturday by some of the local pros, a few of the Max pros, and some of the local talent that I'm going to lean on here in the next week to try and get them to join us. Saturday afternoon, free seminars. Walleye, Eric Braaten, whom Jordan and I were turkey hunting with. And we've had him on talking walleye and will in the future. He's fishing tournaments this weekend. Eric Braaten, if you were there last year and got Eric's presentation, man, I'm telling you what, you want to get Banks Lake and some of those other surrounding waters dialed for walleye, Eric is your man. So he's going to put on a seminar, and we'll get a few other folks on the kokanee at the Roosevelt, and of course the Rufus Woods. I'll try to get Herzog come talk to us for Rufus Woods triploids. It's been a passion of his for over 25 years. So we'll see if we can't get Herzog to come join us. June 11, 12, 13, 509-633-0290. Call the Sky Deck, book your room, and come and have a good time. Everything's free. You got to pay for your room, got to pay for your gas, got to bring your own bait. But
you're providing beer too, I hear.
No, for my room.
Oh, okay.
I might tip back one or two. Truth serum. So divulge all the truths of Rufus.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's going to about do it for us, Tommy.
I think so.
Lots of information covered this evening. Glad everybody tuned in. I hope you take something away from here. Join us each week, throughout the week, each day on Fish on Northwest Facebook page. Go over to our YouTube channel. Subscribe, please. Take our content, push it out there, share it around. We are on a shoestring budget here, and we are trying to make ends meet. So
that's true.
Help us keep this show going. We will continue to provide you the content each and every week, as we love to do it. But hey, man, it takes time and money. So try to provide it. Just go ahead and push this content out there. Make your friends aware. Get everybody joining us each and every week. With that, any questions? Hit us up on Facebook page. Messenger is the best way. We answer questions all the time. Comments via our YouTube videos. Tommy's very good on all our saltwater content. He'll get back to you. That's just kind of what we do here. So have a great week. Get out and fish. Tommy, good luck. You and Josh this weekend out there on the Halibut grounds, and knock them dead. And until then, next Thursday, we'll be back right here in studio here at Fish on Northwest. You guys have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.